Yes, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Welcome all. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Peace be upon you. Good morning, good evening, good afternoon for everybody. Welcome to our 54th session in the Arab English Teachers Association about an important topic, which is the importance of English language. First of all, let's introduce myself for you. I am Shawqia Hawawre from Palestine, the president of the Arab English Teachers Association. I welcome you all, our attendees and participants from all over the world. And of course, I want to thank very much Professor Adly Abdulrahman from Egypt for accepting our invitation to be with us for the second time. And we hope that you will get benefit from this session as usual. It is about the importance of English language. And as you know, English is an international language for everybody, and it is the dominant business language. And it has become almost a necessity for everyone to speak English if they are to enter a global workforce. And also, it is the language of commerce, economy, politics, technology, and we need it in every aspect of our life. Also, communication is most often conducted in English, and many international companies expect employees to be fluent in English. And here in this session, we hope that we will get more benefit, more information, and ideas about this global and international language with our guest speaker from Egypt, Professor Adly Abdulrahman. Thank you another time. And before we begin, let's watch this short video. Thank you for watching another time. Welcome you all. And let's introduce first myself. I am, as I said, Shawqia Hawawre from Palestine. I am an MIA expert for the third year. And also I am an ambassador for many global and international platforms like quizzes, Pansy, Kahoot, etc. And also I am winner of many local and global initiatives and competitions, and those are some of these badges and certificates. Let's come to Professor Adly Abdulrahman from Egypt. He is the principal of Global Course Academy, GCA, for teaching online English courses and international classes. Also, Professor Adly is the principal of English Language Department at Izzat Nimr Academy High School, the Ministry of Education in Egypt. Also, he is the principal of English Language Department at Alpha Aviation Services Academy, Alexandria, Egypt. Professor Adly is also the principal of English Language Department at the Trust Academy in Egypt. He is a lecturer at European Communication Services of Scotland College, Edinburgh, Scotland. Also, he is an expert teacher at Armadale Academy High School, Bathgate, Edinburgh, Scotland, and many other achievements. MashaAllah, congratulations, Professor Adly Abdulrahman, for these great and distinguished achievements. And if you need to add any other new information and idea, you can. Now let's start with our presentation with Professor Adly. Now the floor is yours.
Okay, thank you for your introduction.
Welcome.
And now we can start.
Yes, you can begin sharing your screen.
Yes.
Yes, great. It is visible.
Before I start my presentation, I'd like to grade my teamwork from Global Course Academy. So I'd like to welcome my GCA managers who joined my today. I feel so happy as you are with me, as usual. It's a good chance to thank you for your great efforts and contributions. Thank you, Mrs. Retno Aminse, the coordinator, the manager of Global Course Academy, GCA Indonesia.
You're welcome.
Thank you, Mrs. Tia Secondilia, the manager of Global Course Academy, GCA Georgia. Thank you, Mrs.
Hello, everyone.
AETA and Jessica, the manager of Global Course Academy, GCA Holland, and Mrs. Latifa Ludaif from Tunisia, the manager of Global Course Academy, GCA in Tunisia. And I think Dr. Mileda Japlinan, the manager of Global Course Academy, GCA in Serbia. And Mrs. Natalia, she is sick, so I think she can't join because she has some problem in her health. So Mrs. Natalia Kartiseva from Russia is the manager of Global Course Academy, GCA Russia. So thank you so much for all. And now we can start our presentation, the importance of English language. As we know, English is so important for all people in different ways related to their jobs, for students, for any people has a career. So we start now. This is my information, personal information. Professor Adly Abdulrahman, the principal of Global Course Academy, GCA, for teaching online English courses and international classes. The importance of English language. So we have some points we discussed together related to our topic today. Why do we have to learn English? How can we learn English in a correct way? How to speak English like a native speaker. And we discuss the difference between British English and American English and give some examples. Global Course Academy GCA courses, I will explain why when we start to learn English, how we learn and how we teach. So how students start learning English language and how we can teach them and which material we can teach them. So the first thing, why do we have to learn English? As I listened, I heard Professor Shawqia said it is spoken it is an international language and spoken all over the world. It is my first point because English is so important. Why it is so important? Because it is an international language and spoken all over the world. That means if I travel to China or I travel to Japan, I travel to Germany, or at any place, but I can't speak its native speaker or its native language. So I can speak English, so I can communicate with people there and I can talk to them in English. So why? Because English is an international language and spoken all over the world. So English is so important. The second point, we can communicate with other people in other countries and in other countries easily. Why? Because as you know, if I want to talk to some people from Georgia, from Russia, from Poland, from Azerbaijan, from at any place from India. So it is so easy to ask just a simple question. Do you speak English? Yes. Okay, let's talk. We can talk, we can write, we can chat. So it is so easy to communicate with other people in other countries easily by using English, talking, writing, chatting, and so on. Also, the third point, that English is the language of modern technology and the internet.
Sorry for interruption. Sorry, but they aren't moving. The slides aren't moving.
My voice is clear.
Yes, your voice is so clear, but the slides are not moving. It is just on the first slide, the importance of English.
Yes. Wait. Maybe the internet. Start again.
Maybe.
Start here.
No, now, yes. No, it is a new slide.
It is okay now?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yes, okay. Thank you.
So this is the importance of English language. These points that we discuss again, why do we have to learn English? How can we learn English in a correct way? How to speak English like a native speaker? The difference between British English and the American English. And at last, we will discuss about courses that we have in GCA English courses in Global Course Academy GCA. So now we start the second. I think it is not appeared there.
Yes, the importance of English language. That's it.
Yes,
the one that appears
but
in front of us.
The second slide,
No.
the second slide, I started. Why do we have to learn English? Number one.
Yeah.
Wait.
You can use the here at the bottom, the form or the shape that like the glass.
No,
press on it.
I checked the internet.
Yes. Make enable editing. Press here above enable editing.
I
press
think
it.
Change it. Yes, change it now.
Yes. Yes.
So Okay. So why do we have to learn English? English is an international language and is spoken all over the world. As I said before, that if you travel at any place all over the world, you travel to China, to Germany, to Georgia, to Japan. So if you don't know how to speak their native language, so you can speak English. So it is easy to speak and to talk to them in English because English is an international language. So the second point, we can communicate with other people in other countries easily and talk to them in English. Why? Because it is a language of the internet, and we can, as I said before, it is easy if you meet someone for the first time to ask him, do you speak English? Yes, I speak English. So we can talk, we can communicate with other people in other countries, in other places easily and fast. Okay, so the third point, that English is the language of modern technology and the internet. If you ask the students at university, especially who study medicine or engineering, so they have to study English. They have to learn English because everything, all scientific researches written in English. I know it can be written in other languages, but the most important researches and all research must be written in English, and after that, they can be translated to other languages. Number 4, English language is so important to promote your job or career. Anyone has a job, has business, has a career, must promote himself and promote his work, promote his job by learning English, because English is so important for all jobs all over the world. If you're a banker, if you're a scientist, if you are a teacher, if you are a director, if you are a pilot, so English, number 1, as important language. Yes, we have to learn more language like French, like Spanish, like Russian, like Italian, but English is the most important. Still, English is the most important. The last point here, English is so useful for studying abroad. As we know, at any place, in any country, we have students like studying abroad. So all students maybe dream to study in UK, in England, or in USA, or in Canada. So the student who think to travel for studying abroad, he has to get TOEFL or IELTS certificate, because it is an international certificate, TOEFL or IELTS. Okay, without them, any students can't study abroad. So if you want to study in university in United States, so you have to get TOEFL test and get TOEFL certificate. And if you want to study in UK, in England, so you have to get IELTS test and IELTS certificate to complete your master degree and PhD. So important English. So it is important for everyone who wants to study abroad to get TOEFL or IELTS certificate and learn English and speaking. He must speak English, listen English, and writing, reading. So he has to be excellent in 4 skills: listening, speaking fluently, reading, and writing. Okay, so we can go to the next point. I hope it will change.
Yes, yes, you can ask them in order to engage them in this lecture, Professor, if you want.
Now I'm busy of changing the slides. Okay, so
Just click on the
I don't get
glass
why
beneath.
it doesn't. Yes, I used to.
Yes,
I used
because
two sets.
maybe you yes, sorry, because you don't enable editing. Just click on enable editing above there. Click on it. Okay. There is the sentence or the phrase that says enable editing. Just click on it.
Okay. Okay, now the next, yes, it is okay. How can we learn English in a correct way? Okay. So how can we learn English in a correct way? Anyone wants to start learning English in a correct way, especially for beginners and for adults, to start phonetics and pronunciation. Because phonetics and pronunciation is the best way to start how to imitate tones, sound, transcription, how to use dictionary, how to get the definitions of the words. Okay, so phonetics can explain to you that I can start how many letters in English language, so they can say 26 letters. So it is a simple question. So we can divide them into vowels and consonants. Vowels are 5, consonants are 21. So vowels, although they are 5, but they have 20 simple sounds. And of course, 20 simple sounds, like short vowel sounds, they are 7. Long vowel sounds, they are 5. Double vowel sounds, they are 8. And we can go to consonants sounds. Letters, they are 21, but consonants sounds 24. So all sounds in English 44. Without studying phonetics and pronunciation, how we know this information? Okay, so we have to study English in the correct way, and we follow the phonetics rules and how to use a dictionary, how to see the transcription, and how to pronounce the words or the vocabularies, and how to write the transcription and follow the sounds, okay, by using listening and speaking more. The second point, speaking skills and conversations. We have to speak more. Learning English needs speaking more and more, practice and practice, and do conversations together. We have to speak to others because we learn English, okay, through conversations and speaking, talking to others. The basics of grammar rules. As we know, we have language two languages, spoken language and written language. Spoken language, as I say, and as I talk now, it is okay. You can talk freely, okay, without following any grammar rules. Just my rule or my goal is to get you understand what I say. But when I write a research, okay, or academic research or scientific research, we have to follow grammar rules. So we have to study grammar rules well to know tenses, prepositions, conjunctions, and so on. Listening and speaking skill. Listening and speaking skills so important because both relate to each other. I can't listen, okay? I can't speak without listening, okay? So I listen well. Listening is a training for our ears. Speaking is a training for our tongue. So we have to listen more and more, speaking more and more, practice, 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 and repeat, repeat, repeat. Reading and writing skills, we have to read, okay? Silently, okay? Loudly is okay. And writing, okay? We practice our hands to write in a correct way and in a good handwriting. The last point in this part, presentation and communication skills, and it is so important for university students. We can teach students at university how to get more information and how to present their presentations and how to show their information or research they collected or they got from the internet or different books, and how to communicate their presentation with their colleagues or classmates at school or at university, and they can discuss together the points as a presentation, as we will do later. Here, how to speak like a native speaker. So these are some tips that you have to follow, and all learners and beginners must follow to speak English in a correct way and like a native speaker. The first point is trust yourself. You have to trust yourself, and you can do it. You can learn it. And don't afraid, as we say these sentences to our students who learn English. Trust yourself and don't feel afraid or shy of making mistakes, because we always learn from our mistakes. And always be motivated. Okay, so you have to motivate yourself and always say, yes, I'm good. Yes, it is okay. Yeah, I can do it. And be persistent. It is a good point to be patient and never give up. Don't feel disappointed if there are many difficulties you face in learning English. Never give up, okay? And always be persistent, and you will do it. It is a good point. It is a good point to achieve your goal to learn English, because in learning English, you have many positions waiting for you to get the way of success. In learning English, you must to listen more and more, speak more and more, because listening is the most important thing to learn English, and speaking too. These 2 points related to each other, and they are the first skills to start with. Listening. You have to listen more and more, and you have to speak more and more. So the last one is practice, practice, practice. Repetition, repeat, repeat, repeat. So learning English is related to practice and repetition. And the most important point, that we have a difficulty to find people who can talk to me, to practice speaking or for listening. Okay, because as you know, in Arab countries, it is so difficult to get the chance to student to speak more. The teacher maybe speak all the time, and doesn't give the students chance to express their opinions or ideas. So I advise everyone wants to learn English to depend on yourself by listening and speaking more. And if you don't have a partner to speak together, you have a friend at whom you can talk to him or to her. It is a mirror. So don't afraid that the members or your family say it is a crazy man or it is a madman, he speaks to himself. No, you can train, you can practice speaking your English. Okay, it is a good point. If you don't have friends to speak English, okay, it is a good point to speak to yourself at home, okay? And now the internet is a worldwide, you can communicate with any people and speak English to anyone at any time. So now, if you don't have partners to speak English with them, so you can speak to yourself, stand in front of your mirror and try to make simple conversations like, hello, how are you? Are you okay? Nice to meet you. Okay, something like that. And you can answer to yourself. So, okay. This is an important point, so I will change it again. Yes, okay. This
Yes,
point.
sorry for interruption. Sorry,
Yeah.
but there are some persons who are raising their hands. Do you want to let them ask or till the end?
You can ask them to and tell me, because I only look at the screen and
Yes, yes.
check if
So,
it's or not.
yes, I see. Yes. So, Miss Zubaida, you can unmute yourself and go ahead with your question. Miss
Okay.
Zubaida. Miss Zubaida,
Yes, yes.
open your mic.
Hello,
Yes.
everybody. I am
Hello,
hello,
welcome.
hello. Zubaida Abdul Latif from Kuwait, English teacher.
Yes.
Welcome.
Thank you, Doctor, for your lecture. First, I want to add something which is important in addition to that. The importance of English language, which is international communication. It's the language of international communication and the language of business. And it's the language, of course, of the internet. I want to add something which is, in my point of view, it's important that English can make everybody smarter. How? It make you more creative. It keeps the brain healthy and strong and supports concentration and memory skills. It improves personality and increase sense of self-worth. In simple words, learning foreign language makes the brain stronger and more versatile. That's all.
Yes.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. your point is so right, so excellent, because if you speak English well, you feel you are more smarter and you have self-confidence because you know the language of maybe more millions or billions of people. You can talk to them and they can understand you. So you will feel so smarter and feel so self-confidence. Okay, it is a good point. Thank you.
Thank you.
Another
Thank
one?
you for this great addition, Ms. Zubaida. Now let's move to another one. Mr. Al-Mu'tasim Muhammad, please go ahead. Al-Mu'tasim, unmute yourself, please. Yes, if you are not ready, let's move to Mr. Walid. Unmute yourself, please, and go ahead with your question. Yes, now you can unmute yourself, Mr. Walid. Open the mic, you can now. If you are raising your hands by mistakes, please lower them.
Yes, miss. You hear me
Yes,
now?
Mr. Walid. Yes,
Thank
yes,
you.
you are audible now.
I want at
Welcome.
first to thank Dr. Adly, Abdurrahman, and
You're
you
welcome.
first. Thank you. And I
Thank
wanted
you.
to understand what is the difference between English, British
It
English,
is the
and
next point.
American English.
It is the next point. It is the next point. As you see on the screen now, it is a next point. Okay.
Okay. I
But
graduated from Ain Shams University.
I
Yes.
can't say everything. I
Yes.
choose some. I selected some points, not everything. But I hope it will be get you understand the difference between them. So it is
Yes,
the
because
next point.
some students have courses in the American university, and some of them use the British English as they have taken courses in the British Council. I wanted to
Yeah.
differentiate between them.
Yes. Yes. I'll do my best to get you understand the difference between them. Okay. But as I told you now, I
Yes,
can't tell you everything because time is so limited. But
yes,
I
I
selected
understand,
some
and I'm so sorry
important
for
points.
interrupting you.
I
Yes,
I'm sure you will get
uh,
get the chance to differentiate between British English and American
British
English
English and
by
American
my
English.
points that I selected. Okay,
Yes,
thank you.
thank you,
Thank you.
thank you, Mr. Adli. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Walid. Now let's move to Mr. Al-Mu'tasim. If you are available. If not, please go ahead, Professor Adly. Yes.
Okay, so the difference between British English and American English. Okay, the first thing I choose in spelling, and I choose nouns. British English, like British English, some words like color, 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 neighbor, neighbor. If you
Yes,
see the spelling in British English and American English, you see
different.
colors, color in British English, OU, COLOUR, but in American English, COLOR. Neighbor, the same. So OU in British English, it is written O directly in American English. Another example like archaeology, archaeology, archaeology. You see archaeology in British English and leukemia in British English, AEO, okay?
Yes,
AEO in archaeology. It is written in American EO. Leukemia in British English, it is written AE, but in American English, E in British, it is E only in American English. The words license and defense. License. C in British English, it is written S in American English. Defense, the same.
Yes.
It is C in British English, but in American English, it is S. Catalog. You see catalog in British English, it is written in one way. Okay? And at the end of the word, we use UE. But in American, both are okay. Catalog without UE or plus UE. Catalog. Okay? But the same pronunciation. Dialogue. The same in American. Okay, British, we use UE at the end of the word, but in American English, we can use UE at the end of the word, or we can't use it. So dialogue, we can write it in two ways in American English, but in British English, we can write it in one way, dialogue, UE at the end of the word. So this is spelling with nouns. What about the verbs? Wait, I'm sure that changed. Okay, so I go out like here, so we can, yes. When I go out and come back, the screen changed. Okay. Spelling British English for verbs. Apologize. You see Z or S. Apologize. But in American, it is only Z, not S. Organize. It is written by Z or S, but in American language, okay, American English, it is written by Z only. Recognize, the same. It is written in Z or S, but in American English, it is Z only. Another word like analyze, it is S here in British English, but in American we use Z, analyze too. Paralyze, the same. It is in British English, it is written by S, but in American English, Z. Here in the word of the verb travel, we know that in British English we double L before ed or ing or ar. Why? Because the letter before L is vowel, so I double L. Okay, but in American, no. In American, we don't double L. It is only L and add ed directly, or add ing directly, or add er directly without double L. Okay, this points for spelling
Mr.
for
Walid,
nouns
yes.
or verbs. Okay. Okay, and there's another point that there are many words. There are many words in English, but it is different in American English. For example, we use trousers in British English, but in American, we never use trousers. We use pants. Pants. Okay, in British English, we use flat, but in American, apartment. In British English, we use bonnet, but in American English, we use hat. In British English, we use boat. Okay, boat, but in American English, we use trunk. In British English, we use lorry or tory. Okay, but in American English, we use trunk. In British English, always we say university, but in American college. But we use college in Arab means association under university, but no, university in British language, in British English, like college in American English. Holiday in British English, but we use in American English vacation. Jumper in British English, but we use sweater. Okay, in American English, but in American English use accent sweeter. Because T between two vowels, so we pronounce T like da, but it not appear in transcription. It is accent, and we will explain it later in this lecture. Crispy or crisps, a kind of potato in British English, but in American chips. In British English, there's chips in British English, but in American French fries. Trainers in British English, like sneakers in American English. Fizzy drinks like soda in American English. Biscuit in British English, like cookie in American English. Post box like mailbox in American. Chemist like drugstore. Okay, we can use pharmacy or chemist like drugstore in American English. Shop in British English, but store in American English. Carpenter in British English, but cabinet maker in American English. We can go to the next point, so important, in pronunciation. So this accent, the difference between British English and American English related to accent. In British, we can pronounce T like T. So community in British English, or not at all in British English. Native in British English, city in British English, but it is difference, okay, in American English, because T, especially between two vowels, we pronounce it like da. Okay, so between two vowels or vowel and semi-vowel like wa or ya. Okay, so in American English, we pronounce it like community. But in British, community. In American English, community. In British English, not at all. As you know, not at all. But in American English, not at all. Not at all. Not at all. Not the door. Why? Because T, as you see, between two vowels. The first T is between two vowels O and A. And the second T between two vowels A and A. So we pronounce it not at all in American English. The native. In British English, we say native. Okay, native language. But in American English, native. Why? Because T is located between two vowels, A and I. So we pronounce it like native. In British English, city. It is okay, city. But in American English, T is located between two vowels, or vowel or semi-vowel, I and Y, semi-vowel Y. So city. These are some examples. What about TR in British English? It is okay. We can say interesting, or train, or tree, but American English pronounce it like ch. So in British English, they say it is very interesting, okay? But in American, it is very interesting. British English, I like traveling by train. It is okay, train. But in American, I like traveling by train. Train. But that or these things not appear in transcription. If you want to search for the word or look them up in dictionary, you not see them in the transcription because they are accent, and accent related to places in different parts in the country. So in British English, it is interesting. It is, I like traveling by train. I can see a tree. But in American English, it is very interesting. I like traveling by train. I can see a tree. Okay, so we go to the next slide. Okay, it is another point, so important. In accent, in British English, DR, we pronounce it like dra, 100. Did you, but it is different in American English because DR or D, it is pronounced like j. So in British English, we say 100. Did you? But in American English, 100. Did you? But in American, in British accent, did you or 100? But in American accent, 100. Did you? And R is so important difference between British English and American English. Letter R in British always maybe 95% is silent. But in American English, R is not silent. We can pronounce it. So, for example, when I say horse, it is an animal. We use it in race or competitions. For running, it is a horse. In British English, if you look at the transcription and use your dictionary, you can pronounce it like course. Okay? Or horse, and the course too, the same as horse. Okay? If you want to pronounce the word heart, it is heart. But in British, it's heart because R is silent. So if you see R in British English, so keep it is silent. Or not pronounce R in British English. But in American English, R is not silent. So you have to pronounce it. We go now to the next point. Global Course Academy GCA courses. That is why I follow in learning English. These courses I created them by myself. Okay, in all college all over the world, they use in learning 4 skills, but I use the first, as you see, phonetics and pronunciation course. Phonetics and pronunciation course. The second course, speaking skills and conversation course. And sometimes we have offers to study 2 courses in 1 course: phonetics and pronunciation, speaking skills, and conversation course, because they both related to each other. Because we can study in speaking skills what we learned in phonetics and pronunciation. The basics of grammar rules course, we can study everything in English related to grammar rules. Listening and speaking skills course is so important to follow the steps of the first, the second, the third courses. So listening and speaking skills is so important to complete the first and the second and the third course. Reading and writing skills course is related to presentation and communication skills course, because presentation and communication skills course is so important for university students and scientists, doctors, engineers who wants to complete their master degree or PhD. TOEFL or IELTS preparation course, we teach them for 2 persons. For example, anyone wants to get TOEFL test or IELTS test, we can ask them, do you have a good background in English? If he says yes, so he needs only 30 lectures for preparation and to be ready to have a test. But if he has no good background in English, so he needs from 5 to 8 months, and he has to study all courses and all skills. The last one is interview preparation course. Anyone wants to get a job or apply for a job, and he needs to get the job and succeed in the interview. So we have 10 lectures only to study preparation before the interview. What can he do in the interview, and how he get and overcome the first minutes in the interview and give a good impression to the HR in the interview, and he gave them a good point or a positive point to get the job. Okay, and how to leave and how to end the interview and how to answer all. I will teach them more questions with answers related to the most important questions used in the interview all over the world. Oh, the next and the last one. Best wishes for you to get all success, health, and happiness. Thank you. So.
Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you.
Ustaza
A
Shawqia.
very distinctive
Thank you.
presentation. Thank you very much, Professor
You're
Adly,
welcome.
for this amazing lecture about the importance of English language. And of course, as you said at the beginning, it is very important not only for educators, but also for students and learners all over the world, because it is the language of commerce, language of commerce, of medicine, technology, education, etc. And no one can deny its importance in any aspect of our life. Thank you very much. Now, let's move to our attendees' questions. If they have anyone,
if
please.
anyone from our colleagues wants to more explanation about the accent or the difference between British English and American English, it is okay. I can repeat and I can show the slides again.
Thank you very much. Now let's begin with HN Mishra. Yes, please go ahead with your question. HN Mishra, if it is okay. Yes, unmute yourself. You can now begin with your question.
Yes,
Welcome.
I find this webinar very much interesting. And the very
Thank you.
special thing I got here, the accent differences between British English and American English. And such a webinar is very, very useful for every listener, because at this global scenario, English is a very, very important to all. If anyone wanted to study abroad, and if anyone wanted to visit abroad.
Yes, right. Okay,
Yes,
thank you. Yes.
Thank you very much. Yes, go ahead.
Thank you.
Yes, it is a good point that English is so important, especially for everyone wants to travel abroad for studying, and he have to, by practice, when you arrive and live in the place where you study abroad, so you will learn the accent for the place you live, okay? Because accent comes from listening. And for example, it is so important for me to learn English for studying, okay? But it is not important for me to study accent. But when I live in the place, when I traveled and I went to my university and already study at the university there in America or in England, so I will learn accent gradually, step by step, by listening and by talking to my friends or my colleagues. So it is so important to learn English for studying abroad. And after that, gradually, step by step, you can learn the accent of the native language. Okay, thank you.
Thank you very much for this question. Let's move to Miss Zainab. Zainab Mustafa. Go ahead, please. Yes, Zainab Mustafa. Can you hear me? If you have any question, please go ahead. Zainab. Yes, if you are not ready, let's move to Latifa. Unmute yourself, Latifa Al-Wadif.
Latifa Al-Wazif
Yes,
is
you can.
my manager in Tunisia, and she is my best friend. Hello.
Yes, welcome.
Hello, Mrs. Latifa.
Hello.
How are you?
You are
Hello.
welcome. How
Welcome to
can I
our
speak?
webinar.
How can I speak fluently, clearly?
How can you speak English fluently?
Fluently and clearly.
Yes, fluently. So,
Yes.
as I said, practice, practice, practice. Repeat, repeat, repeat. You have to speak more. Every day, you have to speak to someone in English. Okay? If you want to learn
Yes.
English, so you have to speak English with your partner. And don't afraid of making mistakes. Don't feel shy of making mistakes. Why? Because we always learn from our mistakes. So we have to make mistakes to learn, okay? But the most important thing that you don't feel afraid or shy of making mistakes. It is a good point. And trust yourself. Trust yourself, okay?
Okay.
And be persistent. Be persistent. Okay? Means be patient. Okay? You will learn English step by step and gradually by practice and repetition, you can learn English easily and fast. Okay.
Thank you very much.
Yes. Yes, you are right, because here in learning any new language, especially English, we should have patience and practice, as you said. Because if you don't practice using English, you won't understand it, or you won't speak it fluently. For example, I always say learning and speaking English is like learning computer. If you learn them without practice, it will be useless. Thank
Yes.
you.
Yeah, you're
Thank
welcome.
you.
Yes. Yes. Let's move to Ilham. Unmute yourself, please. Ilham.
Yes, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Hello. Yes, you are audible. Go ahead.
First of all, I'd like to thank Dr. Adly. Thank you. I benefit a lot, but I have a question. There
Okay.
are some students always ask me which accent should we master or learn, British or American. So which one is better to learn?
Okay.
As a student?
Thank you. So British English for accent as British English, it is not famous. The famous is American. Why? Because American now, their language or their accent so simple and so easy. Okay, but British English, as we learn at our schools in our countries and all over the world, especially in England itself, okay, it is the same. Learning English, British English at school in England, the same in our countries, okay, not interested in accent. But American English, we have many accents. As you see the screen now, British English is T like T, TR like TR, D like D. But in American English, it's so different. Okay, so I have 3 sentences. It is same. It is all the same. Nice to meet you. In British English, it is nice to meet you. Okay, it's simple. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you too. But in American, we have 3 accents. The first, the same as British English. Nice to meet you. But the second is nice to meet you. Nice to meet nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet you. The third is nice to meet you. 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 So American accent is so necessary. If you want, first, you study British English, okay? As you like, you have to study a car. You train to drive a car, okay? So it is a basic. But American English, it is the same like British English, but you can add American accent, okay? So before we learn English, I decide why I learn English. I learn English to study abroad. Where? In America. So I study American English and the American accent. I want to travel for studying in UK. So I have to study British English. So it is easy. It is our basic of English. It is British English. It is the basic of English. Okay, so British English, it is simple. Okay, because there has no more accent. Okay, but American accent is so important if you study and you travel to America. Okay, but in general, English is English. Okay, you understand me? English is English. If I learn English in general, British English, for example, British English, it is so important because when I go at anywhere or everywhere, I can communicate with people, I can speak to people, I can talk to people. So I not face any difficulties, or I not get any problem in language. Just if you study British English, after that, you can get a chance to study American accent. But about British English accent in London, it is different in Edinburgh, it is different in Glasgow, it is different in any place or any city, Manchester, Liverpool, all they have their own accent. But it is not